Now, there's a different approach I have to take to a foot sweep when my opponent is advancing on me and I'm retreating, or they're just pushing on me and I'm pushing back on them and we're not really going anywhere. Okay? This situation occurs most of the time when I feel like I'm getting beat and my opponent's advancing on me. They've just got better push power, they're stronger, they're bigger, whatever, such that I'm backing up. At this point, the foot sweep I just talked about is not going to be of any utility at all. But what I want to do now, say we're pummeling in here. If Colby is pushing in on me, what I'm going to do, notice if he's pushing in on me and I were to step away, that's the direction he's going in, right? He's pushing into me, we're pushing into each other, so if one of us wasn't there, the other would continue, okay, by virtue of the force. Now, I want to help that. How am I going to help that? I'm going to help that by, again, controlling his upper body and doing something to his lower body. What do I want to do to his upper body? We'll go over the upper body first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab on the underhook side, right up here. I'm not going to grab with my nails or my fingers. I just want friction here. What I'm going to do is, like, my elbow is right along his side here, the inside, the crook of my elbow. I'm in deep. So I have contact from his body, the front of his chest here, with my deltoid, down here with my bicep. I've got under his arm, or sort of the back of his lat here, and the crook of my elbow, my forearm is across his back. There's a lot of friction there, and that's what I'm looking. And I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to go. So I'm going to a lot of friction in here. I'm tightening that up, and I'm pulling my chest in. I want lots of tightness, lots of friction, lots of contact here. The next thing, so I'm controlling his left side of his body here. Then I got to do something, or I want to do something to help control the other side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just push on the elbow. I'm not going to grab the elbow. I'm not going to grab the tricep. I'm going to push. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm going to tug here, like this. Now watch. If I could try. See, I'm going to try to throw him behind me because that's the direction of his force. It's hard for me just to get out of the way if he's got a good grip. So I've got to do something to get out of the way. I'm going to do that by tugging here. That gets him partly out of the way, but he's still pushing into me. Then what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to push this. And notice when I push this up, I want to push his elbow up so that it's almost going to hit, his shoulder is going to hit his ear, like that. Okay? I just palm the elbow, like that. So from here, I'm going to tug, and I'm going to pop. Now, I'm not going to use any footwork here. You're going to notice my chest. I'm going to tug. Tug. Pop at the same time. My chest and his chest are going to be very tight. So when I tug and pop, and because I'm controlling his chest, as I turn my chest, what's his chest going to do? Well, his chest is going to turn too. His direction is going this way. All of a sudden, his body now can start sliding by mine. Tug and turn, pop, tug and turn. Pop at the elbow, lots of friction around the back. You'll notice too as I do this, I'm not like this. I'm not even upright. I want to get almost at an angle backwards. I want my chest to be facing up. And you're also going to notice my footwork, which we'll go over next. I'm going to block his left foot. Here. Tug. So I'm going to tug, pop, and step. Arch. Block his foot with my instep on his laces here. I'm sorry, block his foot with my arch on his instep here. So Colby's going to push into me, and I'm going to step, tug, and pop at the same time. And a millisecond later, I'm going to block here. And I'm going to put his weight on this foot now. Remember, the other time when we were doing a foot sweep, we were taking the weight off. To understand that as I'm pulling him into me, the weight is on the foot that I'm sweeping. Before it was different. Before we wanted to get, as my opponent was retreating, I wanted his weight off the foot I was sweeping. But when I'm retreating, because he's overtaking me, the weight's going to be on that foot. I can't just kick it out. What I can do is I can block it on the ground, post it on the ground, suck him up and turn him to where he wants because he's stretched out. to take a step, but I'm not going to let him because my foot's there. And because I'm rotating his body, his force, which is going this way, is going to continue that way, and I'm going to be able to change the situation, and I'm going to be the attacker. I'm going to be pushing in on him. So the first step is digging in. And Kobe's pushing into me here. I'm going to step like that. Now, Kobe may not go down. Sometimes our opponents will go down. Two situations occur. One, they go down and you go on top and you score. The other is simply, and I want to demonstrate this next, is my opponent gets so off balance, but I'm not able to actually bring him down to the mat. But all of a sudden I have a position of advantage because I'm being the attacker. Can you kind of see there? I was retreating because he was getting the best of me, but I changed the direction. Now I have momentum, boom, and then I can initiate an attack. Very opportune time for me to initiate attack. I've gone from a position where I was being overrun and very vulnerable myself, and actually I don't want to be going backwards too much, to changing that situation to where I'm going forward, my opponent is off balance and going backward, and that gives me an opportunity to initiate my own attack. Okay, so two situations typically occur. One, your opponent gets off balance, or two, you bring them down to the mat. Now, I just want to demonstrate from this point on the notion of bringing them down to the mat, because that's your ultimate goal. If that doesn't occur, what is likely to occur is, again, you change momentum in terms of direction, and then you're simply on your feet and you're in a good position to attack. So the goal isn't to simply switch them to where you can push into them. The goal is to take them down to the mat. If that doesn't occur, you will immediately recognize yourself being in a favorable situation to initiate your own attack. Now, just a brief review. This situation is when my opponent's attacking me and I'm retreating. Remember, if this is the line here, let's say there is a line right through Kobe's back here, right in the middle of his spine. He's pushing into me. I want to continue that same motion. I'm not going to try to pull him now this way. I'm not going to pull him. This is intuitive for a lot of people that don't wrestle. Is to tug down on the overhook side and do this. Against somebody good that understands about controlling an underhook, that's not particularly likely. This is counterintuitive for most people that are beginning wrestling to tug on the underhook side, but this is more mechanically sound. Again, he's pushing, let's say along this line on the mat. That's the same line of direction I take him in. So when he pushes into me, I've got to be able to change the direction, and that's the direction I'm going to be pushing him. Whether I've swept him down or he defends such that he at least keeps his balance, but he has to continue retreating in that direction. Okay? Just in quick review now, remember, you want to have lots of friction here. I'm not here. I want to get up as high as I can. I want to suck his body, put my hand into my chest. I want to suck his body into mine. As I'm tugging down here, he can tell you my deltoid, anterior part of my deltoid is tight in here. I'm locking everything in so that when I turn, his body's going to turn. I'm going to assist that by jamming this elbow up. Now, what I want to do, and it works better, not how here, if I can get his elbow to his body, it'll work even better. I can't jam him quite as good here. I can do it here, but I prefer to be able to push it down. And again, when I'm jamming, notice, if he's pushing into me in this direction, and his elbow is close to his body, as I'm jamming this up, this way, it's kind of going in that same direction I want to take him. So I'm tugging, jamming this up, stepping in, and blocking his foot. I want to keep my body, which is much different than most other kind of attacks, pass vertical. I'm not going to come in like this. It is not going to work if you are bent over like this. It will not work. You've got to try to suck him up your body, bring him up my body as I block. Now, a foot sweep that is useful as a counter to a 2-on-1, especially if my opponent's got this really good. You know, if they've got it kind of loose, I'm gonna probably be thinking of doing other things to get out to the side here, whatever, or rather out in front. But if he's really got this tight, and he's really secured my shoulder, it's very hard for me now to get out in front or to be able to square off. I'm very vulnerable because he's got an excellent angle on me to initiate an attack. What I'm going to do, though, at least I'm going to try to salvage my situation based on the notion that he has my shoulder so tight because he's really gripping it hard that if I move my shoulder, hold on, my shoulder tight, he's going to go a little bit with it. Okay, hold on, my shoulder tight. So if he holds onto my shoulder tight here, if I turn my shoulder, he's going to go with it. Let me try that once more. Now, this is going to take advantage of the situation where if Colby has my shoulder really tight, if I move that shoulder, he's going to move with it because by virtue of him holding onto it so tight. So part of the notion of this type of an attack is I'm going to be pulling my arm. By pulling my arm, because he's latched onto it so tightly, he's going to move too. I can help myself or facilitate that by locking onto Colby's head. Now, remember, we're always in a head fighting situation. If Colby is here, this is more difficult for me. So if Colby has a 2-on-1, I want to do whatever I can to get my head out. I'd much prefer to have my head in this situation inside here. One, it makes it difficult for him to attack me, or at least reduces some of his potential attacks. And two, it gives me a little bit better position to attack him. So if he's in here, I really want my best to try to get my head inside. Okay, if I can't do that, I'll have to go with like this, but this is much more difficult. I get my head inside here. I'm going to lock his head to my head from here. I'm going to tighten it up here. Now from here, because he's still holding on tight, he's not going to, I'm trying to get this loose, he's not going to let me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step, block, and tug. At the same time, I'm going to push here. Step, step, block, tug, pop here. From here, hold up tight. I'm not going to score on this type of an attack. This is simply to be able to bail out of a very dangerous and bad position that I'm in with Colby's really secure and good 2-on-1 position. So I'm in this position, I'm losing this, and this isn't something you ponder and debate. This is something that you recognize right away here and go for it. So again, when you recognize his position, because he's got such an advantage here, he's probably going to attack me very shortly. I don't have a lot of time to think about what I want to do. I need to recognize that position, boom, and go. And what I'm doing, again, is I'm giving a shoulder shrug here. Hold on tight, Colby. So part of it is here. The harder he holds on, if he doesn't hold on, don't hold on quite so tight. I get a little loose, okay, and I can get hand control, and I can get out of it, okay? We're presuming Colby's got this like a bear here. So he's in this really tight, and so if I move the shoulder, he's going to go with it. I'm going to help myself by locking his head to my body. Again, locking his head to my head. Again, preferably, I'd like to be here. This would be much better for me. Okay? If I'm not, that's life, but I'm not in as good position. But I'm going to block here. I'm going to step and do just what I did before. If he's pushing this way, that's the line I'm going to take him in. I'm just going to, I'm tugging my shoulder, I step, tug, push the head, block the foot.